Hi, I'm Scott Engel, Managing Director of RotoExperts.com. I am the king. I am fantasy, here with the new King of Queens, of course. Well, not new, really, but with his new contract, he kind of is. Third baseman David Wright of the New York Mets. David, you got this great new contract, sets you up to be a Met for life. And there's also talk of maybe you becoming a captain. Do you feel like you're going to have to be even more of a vocal clubhouse leader now, or are you just going to lead by example? What's your style now going forward?
Well, I think, I've had an advantage of playing, having teammates that have been tremendous leaders. So, I tried to take a little bit from each of their game, both on the field and in the clubhouse. But I feel definitely very comfortable in a leadership role, both leading by example and, if I need to get on somebody, I feel very comfortable doing that. I'm not going to, yell and scream and show anybody up on the dugout. But, I've pulled people aside and, I think there's a time and place for it, but yeah, I definitely feel extremely comfortable, in that kind of role.
Did you get a chance to sit down with the organization, with like Sandy Alderson and everybody, and look at the future of the team when you made your decision? And when you see guys like Zach Wheeler and Matt Harvey coming up, how much did that factor in your decision to remain a Met?
I mean, it was the decision. If I don't get the answers that I want to hear from the Wilpon family, Sandy, the front office, then we don't even start contract talks. So those were the first conversations I had. I wanted to see what direction we were going in. We went over dozens of our minor league players. We went over free agents that Sandy thought might be in the plans, some trades that Sandy thought might be in the plans, and definitely that was the first step in getting this done.
When you look back at Johan Santana's no-hitter from this past season, and the mood in the clubhouse was just so electric and one of the great moments in Mets history, is that something that you look at and say, that's why I wanted to remain a Met, to experience more moments like that?
You know what? That was a great moment, a historic moment, but I signed back here to try to finish what I've started. I didn't sign back here to continue to finish in fourth place in the division. I got a small taste of what winning was like in 2006, and that's what's special, and that's what you want to get back to, because those are some of the best moments I've had on a baseball field.
I sent you a photo of Tom Seaver holding 3 Cy Young Awards, which was published on MetsBlog.com. When you see something like that, does it motivate you? Because you grew up a Mets fan.
Mm-hmm. I did. I grew up, our AAA team was in Norfolk, Virginia, so I grew up somewhat of a displaced Mets fan because of our minor league team. I'm too young for Tom Seaver, although you're not. It was really a cool picture. You talk about, I mentioned it earlier, when you have more Cy Youngs than you do hands to hold them, you're doing something right.
Fantasy baseball players. Now, you're a fantasy football player. What can fantasy baseball players expect from this year from Matt Harvey and Wheeler?
Well, I think I'm not sure what the plan is, for Wheeler exactly time-wise, but we got some really, really good young starting pitching, starting with obviously John Neese, Matt Harvey. You got Wheeler on the horizon. I think Dylan G. I think that our staff is very, very young. You have a couple good guys to learn from, and R.A. Dickey, not so much the knuckleball, but the pitching aspect of it, and Johan Santana, you mentioned him before. So I think that these guys have some great people to learn from, and we're going to have an electric, young, great staff.
You're a very passionate fantasy football player. We talk about that all the time, but you're also a Giants fan. And you once actually said to me that you might rather have your fantasy team win than the Giants. If somebody would rather have their fantasy team win the Mets, how do you look at that from both sides?
You're kind of calling me out on camera here. I'm not sure. No, it's obviously I root for the Giants. I've got some friends that have played for them over the years, and they were so good to me that I'm always rooting for those guys. But fantasy, there's a lot of pride, and there's a lot of talking smack that goes on with that. So I have to see a lot of these guys, Mets guys, in the clubhouse every day. So of course you want to win that for the bragging rights.
David Wright of the New York Mets, thanks a lot for coming by today and spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.